I'm going to be sharing with you my entire filming setup, and this setup has enabled me to create all the content here on this channel and on other platforms so that you'll be able to create your own craft related videos for your platform. My name is Juliet Uzor of SoSoNatural.com and you are absolutely welcome to my channel. So the most important thing from my point of view and from my experience is lighting. I have found that using bright white light overhead, like on top of my project or myself if I'm filming myself, and in front of the project, it really does help. But what I do is I have the lights facing upwards, so the lights from my LED devices they point upwards and the light from them bounce onto the project or onto myself. So you have light coming from the top and light coming from in front of the project or in front of yourself if you're filming yourself. The second thing is camera. I don't have any specific camera that I recommend. The cameras that I have, this basic Lumix GF6 camera, this camera that I'm filming from now, and this is the Lumix G7 camera, and this Lumix G7X, it's a much better camera in my opinion because it gets sharper quality. But then I would always say that it doesn't matter what camera you use, all you need to learn is how the camera works best. So you need to do your research, read up on how the camera works better in different light conditions, the different lens that work better with the camera, and just experiment until you get the right setting for your conditions. Another thing that I must point out is I recently bought another lens. So the lens that I'm using on this camera right now and the lens that I use on this one, they're just a regular kit lens and they're good for wide angle stuff. So if you're filming overhead, you want to use the kit lens because they get a wider shot. But then the lens that I'm using right now comes down all the way to aperture 1.7. I'm not sure about these terms. It enables me to get a blurred background. So when I do the sit down stuff, the background can be blurred to some extent. But the key lens that you need for filming overhead or close-up shots, you don't want it to be blurred out when you're filming crafting videos. Another thing that is really important is your tripod. You need to have tripods for everything really. You need a basic tripod, which is the tripod I'm speaking to you right now with. This tripod is a very basic tripod that I got from Amazon, and I use it for shots, including myself. So you need one that would, be able to go high or low. On the other hand, I use this tripod. It's a tabletop tripod, and this one here I use sometimes when I vlog as well, and it allows me to use my mobile phone. And you can also use your mobile phone on these sort of tripods. This goes on the table for any sort of sewing machine shots. So if I want to get any close-up shots of me sewing on the sewing machine, I use this one here. And I use a tall tripod, and this tripod can be raised as high as my shoulder level or higher than that, so that I can bend over to show whatever I'm doing over my shoulder. With your tripod and your camera, you need to explore different angles. Which then brings me onto the overhead stuff. If you create videos or like crafting tutorials where you want to show your hands making something, get that bird's eye view. There's so much that you need to put into place. You need a sturdy tripod that would stand properly firmly on the ground and that won't cause your camera to bounce or shake. So I use I'll get this right, I use a boom and I use a C stand. I have this special bracket that's attached to the main tripod that enables me to attach the long boom, and my camera doesn't weigh that much. It's not so heavy, which means that I can just screw it onto one end of the boom and the camera just points downwards. But I will leave the link to this very stand in my description box below so that you'll be able to film bird's eye view style videos. Now when you have your camera attached to the tripod in order to get bird's eye view clips, you won't be able to see what's going on you from your viewfinder. So what I then do is I use the Bluetooth setting on my camera, or is it Wi-Fi setting, to project whatever is on my camera onto my phone, or sometimes I use my iPad, so I can see that everything is in frame and I don't have anything out of frame and I don't have anything blurry. So it's really important to have a separate monitor that you can use to just make sure that your camera is capturing exactly what you want it to capture, because there's nothing as annoying as filming an entire project and realizing that everything was either blurry or things were out of shot or you weren't showing exactly what you wanted to show. So when I film my craft related videos, I use a microphone, because when your camera is far away from you, the sound quality is normally very poor. So I use this Boya mic. I use this very basic Boya mic, and it's got a very long cable, and I somehow strap it so it doesn't get into the shot. But then recently I invested in a better quality Boya mic, which comes in 2 parts, which means that I can attach one part that gets plugged into the camera and have the other one in my pocket and attach it to my lapel. So you get the lapel part of it and I attach it, which means that I can go anywhere in the room and not worry about the cable. When you have your tripod overhead, you want to make sure that there's nothing causing any kind of shake, bounce, or it's not moving. Push the tripod that holds the boom. You want to make sure it's moved away from your table so it doesn't come in contact. You don't want to have to process your video during editing and try to figure out how to stabilize it, because that takes a lot of time, and you just want to get your video edited and put out there for your viewers to watch. Okay, coming on to the surface. With the surface that you work with, you need to think about what surface would enhance whatever project you're working on. I try not to use the same colored background or tabletop, like a matte. Things get blended in. You just want to enhance it in a way that your viewers achieve maximum satisfaction from watching your video. So what I do is I have a plain white table mat on my table, my dining table here, and if I'm working with paper, I put my cutting mat on top of the white paper so it doesn't blend in. Also, with the type of projects that I do, I need to do some pressing and some ironing, so I had to buy a very simple tabletop mat that it's perfect for pressing, for ironing, and I have my ironing, everything happens on the table, so I don't have to move from place to place, because that would require moving your lights, moving your tripods, and you just want everything to stay in the same place. So what I do is I use my tabletop ironing mat for my projects when I'm filming, but then when I'm not filming, I use my normal ironing board. Okay, this next tip is something that I learned recently: to film using the highest resolution that you have. If you have 4K if you have a camera that is a 4K camera, then I recommend filming in that, because you can crop things, zoom in and all of that, without it distorting the quality of your video. So if you have a camera that goes up to 4K, rather than recording at 1080p, record at 4K so that you'll be able to edit it to your heart's desire. Now, speaking about editing, the editing aspect of things is where all the magic happens. So I have short clips and I put them all together when I import them onto my software, which is Final Cut Pro, which is what I use for editing my videos. When I put them onto Final Cut Pro, all the videos or all the clips that were recorded overhead, I then rotate them at 180 degrees so that they are turned upside down, because when you record and the camera's there and you're standing on the other side, your video would be upside down, if that makes sense. So during editing, I then rotate the video, turn it around and make the clip face the way that I want it to face. However, if you have such a big space and you have the room for it, you might want to have your tripod behind you overhead, filming exactly what you're doing in real time, so you don't have to do any type of post-production rotating or anything like that. I really enjoy the creativity that comes with editing my sewing videos. So I edit most of the, actually I have edited almost all the sewing videos here on the channel, apart from the one Jenny's done for me. I've had somebody else edit 2 other videos, which were sit down videos where I'm just like talking to the camera with just very few B-roll clips. So if you want to employ the services of an editor, you have to be very, very strategic when you're planning out your project, and make sure that the project is organized so that when they edit it, you won't have to do a lot of back and forths and changing and re-editing things, because it also decreases the quality of your video. So I make all my crafty videos here in my sewing room, and if you would like to watch a tour of my sewing room, I'll leave the video here on the screen for you to watch, and I do hope to see you over at that video. So enjoy the rest of your day and all the very best. Take care. Bye.